Welcome back to Recapped. Today I'm going to show you a sci-fi/adventure film from 2012 titled Prometheus. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Millions of years ago, a spacecraft of an advanced humanoid alien race arrives on a primordial planet, possibly Earth. One of the aliens consumes a dark liquid, causing its body to disintegrate and fall into a nearby waterfall. We see its DNA break down and recombine, seeding the planet with the building blocks of life. In the year 2089 on the Isle of Skye off the shore of Scotland, archaeologist couple Elizabeth Shaw and her boyfriend Charlie Holloway discover a star map in a cave which they record among the remnants of several otherwise unconnected ancient cultures. They interpret this as an invitation from humanity's forerunners. Peter Weyland, the elderly founder and CEO of the Weyland Corporation, funds the creation of the scientific deep space research vessel called the USS Prometheus to follow the map to the distant moon of LV-223 several light years from Earth. The ship's crew travels in hibernation stasis at light speed while the android David stays awake at the pilot control to monitor their entire voyage. In 2093, the ship arrives in the orbit around LV-223. After being awakened from hibernation, the crew are informed of their mission to find the ancient aliens, called engineers who may be the creators of the human race. They also view a holographic message from Weyland himself, who tells them about his funding for the mission and that he has since died. Weyland also informs everyone that Charlie and Elizabeth are in charge of the mission. The Prometheus enters the atmosphere of the planet, encountering turbulence which dissipates when they break through the cloud cover and can see the surface. The Prometheus lands near an alien structure, resembling a large temple-like pyramid, and a team including Shaw, Holloway, and David explores it, while Vickers and Captain Yannick remain aboard the ship and monitor their progress. Mission Director Meredith Vickers orders them to avoid any direct contact and to return if the aliens are found. Inside the pyramid, they discover a pocket of breathable air. In a dank chamber that David unlocks, they find hundreds of cylinder-like artifacts, a monolithic statue of a humanoid head, and the decapitated corpse of a giant alien, thought to be one of the engineers. They decide to collect the alien head, while David secretly steals a cylinder. The remaining cylinders in the chamber begin leaking a dark fluid, activated by the change in temperature or atmosphere when the chamber was opened. A rapidly approaching storm forces the crew to return to Prometheus, leaving crew members Milburn and Fifield stranded in the pyramid structure after becoming lost trying to find the way out. While returning back to the ship, Elizabeth drops the alien head and she runs back to try and get it. She gets surrounded by the storm and gets blown away. But the crew saves her and they make it back alive. In the ship, Shaw and medic Ford analyze the engineer's head, removing a heavy helmet with David's help. They discover that its DNA is identical to that of the human race. Using an electrified needle, they bring the head temporarily back to life. However, exposure to the breathable atmosphere causes the severed engineer's head to decompose rapidly and it disintegrates. Later, David investigates the cylinder and discovers several ampules containing a viscous black fluid. David then meets with Holloway. David intentionally infects Holloway with the substance he found within the ampule, hiding it in a drop of liquid on his finger and briefly dipping it into a glass of champagne Holloway drinks to celebrate their discovery. Later, Shaw and the infected Holloway have sex. Holloway wakes up later and looks in a mirror and sees his eyes are changing. They are red and he sees a small, silver worm-like organism emerge from one of his corneas. Back inside the structure, Fifield and Milburn see a strange, snake-like creature emerge from a pool of the black fluid that has leaked from the cylinders. When Milburn tries to examine the creature, it quickly grabs his hand and wraps itself around his arm, breaking it in a matter of seconds. When Fifield tries to cut it off, a corrosive fluid from one of the creatures melts Fifield's helmet, exposing him to the dark liquid leaking from the cylinders. The creature then works its way into his suit and forces itself down his throat. The next morning after the storm subsides, the Prometheus crew returns to the structure and finds Milburn's corpse. David discovers a room containing a living engineer in stasis and a holographic star map highlighting several distant planetary systems. He watches as holograms of the engineers activate a navigational system. One of the planets that eventually appears is Earth. Suddenly the system shuts down, leaving the hologram of Earth behind. David finds a single engineer in a nearby stasis pod and can hear its heart beating. Holloway's infection rapidly ravages his body, and he is rushed back to the ship. As he visibly deteriorates, Vickers refuses to let him aboard, citing quarantine protocols. When he approaches Vickers, begging her to kill him, she burns him to death with a flamethrower. Shaw is devastated. A medical scan reveals that Shaw, despite being sterile, is pregnant. David subdues her in order to return her to Earth in stasis. He takes the cross her father gave her, saying that it could be contaminated. She escapes and uses an automated medical surgery pod in Vickers' quarters to extract a horrific cephalopod-like creature from her abdomen while she is still conscious. Wayland is found to have been in stasis aboard the ship, and it's revealed that Vickers is his daughter. Wayland explains to Shaw that he intends to ask the engineers to help him avoid his impending death. A mutated phi field is discovered just outside the hangar bay and attacks and kills several crew members before being killed himself. Yannick theorizes that the moon they are on was used by the engineers as a military base until they lost control of their biological weapons, namely the cylinders and the black fluid they contain. The remaining crew return to the structure and awaken the engineer, who is occupying what is discovered to be a spaceship. David speaks in alien language to the engineer, asking him why they made mankind and asking him to extend the life of his own creator, Mr. Wayland. The engineer responds by ripping his head out and killing Wayland and Ford. Shaw escapes from the alien ship as it is activated by the engineer. The still active David suggests the engineer is going to release the ampules of black fluid on Earth, thus killing every living creature on the planet. Vickers orders Yannick to return to Earth, but Shaw convinces him to stop the engineer's ship. Yannick and his two surviving crewmen take off and crash the Prometheus into the engineer's ship while Vickers flees in an escape pod. The disabled engineer's ship crashes onto the planet, falling onto Vickers, crushing her. Shaw barely escapes being crushed herself. Shaw goes to the escape pod to retrieve supplies and finds that her aborted but still alive alien offspring has grown to gigantic size. The engineer survives the crash, enters the escape pod and attacks Shaw, who releases the tentacled creature. It subdues the engineer by thrusting an ovipositor down its throat. Shaw believes she's stranded on the planet until David contacts her and tells her that there are more of the engineer's ships elsewhere on the planet. She recovers David's remains from the alien ship, taking back the cross David had taken from her, and together they travel to and activate another engineer ship. Shaw and the remains of android David then take off to travel to the engineer's homeworld, Paradise, in an attempt to understand why they created humanity and why they later attempted to destroy it. Make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.